Thanks everybody for coming. Look, firstly I would like to say that this is a very historic day for Western Australian sport, and I think it's absolutely magnificent that WA and Perth can add another national team to our city and to our state. We're a big city, we're a big state, and we deserve to have representation in all of the big national sporting codes. And I think it's a credit to everybody involved that the NRL will now have a team based in Perth. I think it's particularly great also, I might say, that we have a footy team, and I know it's NRL and rugby league, but I think it's great that we will have a team playing with the Perth name in a major winter sporting code other than obviously the Glory. And I think that has been not a lost opportunity. West Coast has been very successful and powerful with their name. Fremantle have represented another area of Perth, but it is great to see the name Perth represented. So my congratulations to everybody involved. I do have some questions around the transparency, and it doesn't appear to me that we have been given the transparency on this deal that we were promised. I'm not sure about all of you, but a one-page document does not appear to me. I'm not sure about all of you, but a one-page document does not appear to me to be the full transparency on this financial arrangement that we were promised. And clearly there are some questions around the timing from the Premier of this announcement. And I note what he said over the last few days. I haven't heard from the NRL in any official capacity. I literally haven't heard anything. Obviously, I'm getting snippets of East Coast sports media. And yesterday, we aren't in a position to make a formal announcement when it has become evident and very apparent that he recorded the video which was announcing this deal a week ago. Now, that is not gold standard transparency. That is not transparency at all. It is misleading the Western Australian public, and I'm not sure why the Premier is conducting these affairs in that manner. It's not right.
What are the key details that you'll give our listeners? What are the key details that you'll give our listeners?
Well, this is a one-pager. This is not the full economic summary. We know, because the government have told us, that ASIL Allen have done the financial modelling. I previously, in another role, have been a part of an organisation that has commissioned ASIL Allen to do financial modelling. I know what their reports look like. They're not one page, I can tell you that. So that is not releasing the full financial modelling.
I think most people agree with you that there are still a lot of things, a lot of unknowns about this. But the point, I guess, is that the real sharp part is it going to cost us more money? And you fear that's what's left out, that somewhere down the line taxpayers are going to get hit with more money?
Well, I note that in the press conference today, Peter V'landys made a comment about further investment in the stadium. Now, we don't see any details in this one-page document about investment in the stadium. But already Peter V'landys has told us and told everybody that as part of this arrangement there is going to be further investment in the stadium. That investment is going to come from the state government. The state government and the Premier are not being fully transparent around the financial details of this arrangement. The team itself, fabulous. But why won't the Premier and this government give us the full financial details and implications so the people of Western Australia can know and judge for themselves? And we are seeing a pattern here. There's this lack of financial clarity. There is the GPS tracking from last week when, for 3 days in Parliament, the government, the Premier, his senior ministers dodged, ducked and dived. There is the climate legislation, which was going to go forward, which now we learn is not going to go forward. Why weren't we told that before the election? And obviously, there is also the situation in terms of a lack of transparency with what's happening at Burswood Racetrack. So we're seeing in the first 2 months of the returned Cook Labor government a strong lack of transparency, a lack of hubris and misinformation to the public of Western Australia. And this is not good enough. This is not a gold standard, transparent government.
The current breakdown of the deal is $35 million for grassroots sport, $25 million for help establishing the club, $5.6 million for marketing, and then the $20 million extra for the High Performance Centre in Malaga. Is that an okay amount of money, in your opinion, to spend on establishing that club here?
Well, I think that's, people can decide whether that's what their priority is. As I've said at the outset, I welcome Western Australia and Perth in particular having an NRL team. I think we're a big city and big state and we deserve to have one, and we can have one. It's for others to decide whether they think that money could have been better spent, for example, on constructing a primary school. Nonetheless, on the information that we have, and with my knowledge of these things, I think it looks like a reasonable deal for Western Australia and gets us into another national competition. It's not that component that I'm questioning. What I'm questioning is, why did the Premier record an Instagram video last week announcing this deal, and then in the days after that say, don't know the deal, haven't finalised the deal, haven't heard from the NRL, when we know we'll let you know, when clearly this time last week he knew and was recording a video in Parliament House. That is not being transparent or open and honest with the public of Western Australia, and I ask the question, why?
The Premier said that he'd actually filmed that video at least 3 times.
Three times because he dropped the ball and needed to do it again?
He said 3 times. I'm assuming that is more... 3 different occasions, expecting a deal. What do you make of that?
I'll tell you what I make of that. Exactly what you guys make of that. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Just come clean, Premier. If you've been caught out recording a video where you announced the deal a week ago, just come out and say it. My advice to the Premier is, don't mislead the public on this deal any more than it appears you already have. The video was recorded last week. Did he say it wasn't recorded last week? I assume he was asked that today. Did he say, no, that wasn't recorded last week, I did it yesterday?
No, his response was he did it 3 times.
Yeah, when?
Well, he didn't say.
Right. Well, I know how it looks to me, and I know how it looks to everybody else. We're all seeing the same information. Was his watch 1 hour and 20 minutes fast today?
Couldn't quite see.
Right. Well, we could see it a week ago, it turns out. We could see it a week ago. Look, again, there's no problem with having an NRL. There's no problem with having an NRL team based in Perth. Tremendous, and a great opportunity for lots of league followers to get behind a Perth team. And the deal looks okay. It's for other people to judge where that money could have been spent and would that have been a priority for them. In a sporting landscape sense, it's great that we're going to get this team and the deal looks okay. What doesn't look okay is the transparency. It doesn't look okay over GPS tracking last week. It doesn't look okay about the climate legislation that was promised to go forward and now is not going forward. And the transparency doesn't look okay around the Burswood racetrack. There is a pattern developing here in the first 2 months of the re-elected Cook Labor government. Why won't they come clean? Why are they not being honest at every opportunity with the people of Western Australia? Only they can answer that. But we are seeing an arrogance, a lack of hubris. We are seeing some contempt for the people who have just returned them, and that's not on.
Peter V'landys said that the media coverage in the West has been biased, taking particular aim at Seven West because of the...
There's a representative over there, you can ask him.
Because of the broadcast rights that Seven West has with the AFL. He said that they are worried that we're going to take a bite of their lunch, I think it was. Okay. And we're hungry, he said.
Right.
You know, you're a former employee there. You're done broadcasting in AFL. What do you make of those comments?
That's not for me to respond to. How the West, how WA Today, how 6PR, how Ivan's News Service decide to cover a story is up to those people. That's a matter for them. What I do know is what I have seen from the Premier and his government over the last 2 months. And you've seen the same things from the Premier and this government over the last 2 months. And the public have seen those same things.
What do you make of the potential $200 million upgrade to HBF?
Well, again, firstly, a significant infrastructure upgrade like that will be tremendous for those who use the facility. But where is the clarity and transparency around that? Peter V'landys is the one telling us that that sort of money is going to be spent. It's not in the economic modelling or economic benefits forecast that was released today, the one-pager. Why don't we know about that from Premier Roger Cook or the state government? Why are they not being open and honest with all of the details? So the concern for me is the same concern I know that the public will have. Why aren't we being told about what money is going to be spent on this team and this arrangement in its entirety?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you were Premier, would you be releasing the full detail given it's potentially commercial?
Now that is a big hypothetical, as you know. There's the first part of it that, I'm not quite there yet. I was the Lord Mayor. Yes, I did work at 7 West and have appeared on Ivan's news service previously, but I'm not the Premier, so I'll let the Premier answer questions about the Premier.
Would you release the full detail?
What the public of Western Australia want and expect, especially when they are told they will get it from the Premier of Western Australia, is full transparency. It's not too much to ask. It was promised by the Premier to the people. The people have an expectation that they will get it, and it is not what we have seen today.